here? You ever notice that the information that we're being fed doesn't always add up to the truth? Do you ever look out your window at night when the rain's falling down? You ever look down the street and wonder what is going on around you? You ever look out at night and ask yourself, is this all that I am? Where am I? What am I? Is this all there is? Is this real life? As technology continues to bring us closer together, it also tears us further apart. We watch the skies and look at the planet around us and its natural beauty as it continues to march forward on and on and on, unending, unceasing, unwavering. And yet our world, everything that we've built, crumbles around us. We wonder, is this it? Is there more? There's gotta be. We can search. We want to learn. We want to understand. We want to see all that we can see, know all that we can know. We want to look out there. We want to peek behind the veil. We want to ask the questions that nobody will answer. We want to light those fires, the sparks that ignite a curiosity in us. And we ask ourselves, what is out beyond all of that? Beyond the edge of reality. What's going on, guys? How y'all doing? It's Kaiser. Good to see everybody. Good to have all of you on board for another episode of Edge of Reality. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. This is one I meant to cover last episode, but the things were going on, and I was not about to let a good, fun conversation go to waste, because our good friend of the channel, Captain Have Fun, and we just kind of riffed it and had a great time. It was a blast. And tomorrow, a little bit of a heads up, tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be doing Real Talk live with Captain Have Fun and tentatively special guest Chandler Remington. Woo! We're gonna have a good show tomorrow night. We're gonna be talking some movies, talking some other stuff tomorrow. But tonight we are going to get we are gonna get things absolutely just running with some good old fashioned UFOs and stuff. So going around real quick, gonna hit the quick chats. Just say hey to everybody. Starting off the get go, Jude Curio. Great to have you, Jude. Always lovely to have you. Thank you so much for joining. Lived in 29 Palms for years. I want to go back before I die. From what I've seen, it's a really cool place. And Mexican Vader. Hi, everyone. Happy Hump Day. Always happy Hump Day. And Tiz and Ray Guns. Get that floor done yet, Slacker? Yes, as a matter of fact. The floors are done. My new desk is done. The new studio is open for business. Yeah. So yeah, we are actually doing this live. The new studio desk, all that. I will have more pictures another time or whatnot. Or you can always definitely go ahead and jump on over to my Discord. I actually updated the link in the link tree at the pinned comment. So if you're not already a member there, get on that. And say, does UFO stand for unidentified floor observations? Well, it is what it is. And Rebecca, good to see. Great to have you in the chat there. Welcome to Edge of Reality. We've got some fun stuff for y'all tonight, and I went ahead and decided to load up. Got some strawberry lemonade tonight. All right. So, kind of getting off the get. I mean, really just kind of starting off things here. We really have had a very strange, I guess you could call it a rash of UFO related things going on lately, and it's pretty wild. right now. Let me adjust that real quick. That's bugging me. There we go. Okay. So something that has really kind of ignited my my already piqued curiosity is that there's something very interesting going on, and I think a lot of folks have this kind of idea of what disclosure of this topic will look like in this country and kind of the world. And I don't think it's quite as sunshine and roses as I think we would hope. I know that's, sorry to be a Debbie Downer there, but it's definitely, I'm not sure how that's going to go. But I think, honestly, given the way that the news has been, coming hard and fast, giggity, lately, I got to be honest with you guys. I'm pretty sure that disclosure is going to happen not only within our lifetime, but I think probably sooner than we think. And I'm just making a real quick adjustment here. I got a cable that's hanging down, and it is starting to bug the crap out of me. We'll do it live. There we go. I had an extra cable tie hanging around, so went ahead and just slapped that on there. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
God, I miss being able to use those. I really don't have a lot of opportunities to use them on my pre-recorded videos. I've used a few here and there. I really got to go through and pick and choose a bunch of these out because not all of them fit, but some of them do. I need to go back and trim out probably a lot of my sound effects because I've got way too many sound effects and not enough clips. Anyway, so again, we're kind of talking about the potential coming up very soon of what potentially disclosure might look like in this country with regard to the UAP phenomenon. Because I do think it's going to happen. Now, how it's going to happen and exactly what specifically is going to happen, those are two very different things. Honestly, I don't have a lot of faith that the current administration is going to use this as much more of than just a deflection tactic to kind of draw away current narratives away from certain people related to other people within the White House. I'm just going to call it. I think this is a bit of I think it's a bit of a distraction. But how much of it is a distraction? Really, I don't know for certain. I think there's enough actual tangible information and evidence that has been gathered, especially in recent years, that I think that we are at a point where they've got to do something. I mean, they've already had to come forward in 2017 and admit that UAPs, UFOs are real. They are they are craft. They are physical craft. They've had to admit that we don't know who has them or why they have them or who's controlling them. And they are definitely of non-human origin. So we've got these things flying around, and they've pretty much admitted all of the really big questions there. But now, I guess the big question on everybody's mind is where, when, what is this going to be? I say, what is this going to look like? EW Gaming, what's good, fam? Great to have you. Thanks for joining in. So, yeah, kind of going with that, there's some recent topics that have been really discussed in the sphere of this phenomenon lately. And one of those, of course, has been the big topic of discussion with David Grush, the whistleblower from the Air Force who came forward. He's been in intelligence. The guy's got a long, storied career, and he's got a lot of credentials. And there's a lot of people within a lot of these agencies that they seem to have a very specific knowledge of things, and they're all going to this guy. They seem to be going to this guy, and they seem to be telling him things and feeding him information. He's trying to come forward as best he can with what information he has, and he's trying to do it in a way that, surprising enough to me, he's doing it in a way where he's trying to bring forth information, and he's trying to do it the right way. He's trying to go through the proper channels. He's trying to go through all of the... he's having to navigate the bureaucracy in ways that I never thought I would see somebody with any level of government involvement in this topic actually use. So again, it's an interesting case. And we've seen a lot of things recently come forward as a, I guess you could say, as a result of that. One of those, of course, being recently that some disclosure information actually came forward. This was funding limitations related to unidentified anomalous phenomena. This report we covered on the last episode, but I want to do another little refresher of it. So I read through the entire document on that stream. I read through the entire, like, all the nitty gritty and everything and all the boring legalese. Let me kind of boil this down to the spare nuts and bolts. So what this specifically does, this particular bit of legislation actually tells all these 3-letter agencies and these, groups with all these special access programs, SAPs, that they have 60 days from the date of the enactment of this, and then they have to disclose everything they're working on, crack open the budgets, all the information, and then after that, they have a further 180 days until they have to literally make all the material able to be viewed and gone over, visually inspected by members of, the special, basically the special security intelligence group that is with Congress right now, the SSCI. I don't remember the acronym. I apologize. But that is kind of what we're going. So quickly, Nandor's Man Bun, dropping a like and some love. Have a great stream, Kaiser. Great to have you, Nandor. And say, hopefully you can catch the replay. So anyway, the what's really with the rest of this is that once they are required to provide all this information, if they don't provide this information, then this literally cuts off their funding. Period. And it's got approval throughout Senate and Congress, and everybody's on board apparently. So yeah, there doesn't appear to be like some kind of secret group or something like that that's still funding this stuff. It's still getting its funding through the federal government. And if they don't come forward with the information, then they're going to be forced to basically do without money, and that's not going to happen. So here's the other issue with this. So kind of building off of this, I do need to make some note here on this topic, because once they do go ahead and come forward with this, they then have to come forward with all the information. We have as far to Congress. Congress is going to get this information. They're going to get all this data. Now, we all know Congress has kind of not really played ball in the past, and that's always kind of been a little bit of a sticky problem. But there's such a huge public interest and a huge public pressure right now that I think that something about this just feels different. We've got NASA that is supposed to be doing their UAP report, and honestly, based on the live stream, the 4-hour nothing burger that they put forward out there a few months ago, where they basically downplayed and even, kind of made fun of any, like UAP, the UAP phenomenon, and like what people seem to be coming forward with on this. It's kind of bizarre. I mean, because I feel like they're just basically going, oh, well, we're not going to actually bring anything forward. And of course, they're directly reporting to and directly working with Arrow, which is the All Domain Defense Research Office, which is pretty much the new UAP UFO and is like office, and that it also works with not only aerial phenomenon but also underwater phenomenon. So it's why it's AA, All Domain. So AD or All Domain. So Arrow is a weird kind of amalgam there, but again, it seems like more of, it seems like a new Project Blue Book, really honest, to be completely honest with you. Meanwhile, then you have the UAP task force that was between 2019 and 2021 that David Grush was a part of. They seem to be actually legitimately trying to look into this. They found a lot of information on these special access programs and came forward with those. Or at least he's trying to come forward with those. The other really odd thing to kind of keep in mind here is that there is, once the cat's out of the bag, what do we do? I guess you could say. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling here because I'm trying to compartmentalize a lot of stuff in my mind. But I'll be completely honest with you. There seems to be something very odd going on. The question, I think, is why? Why is the secrecy gone to such an extreme at this point? And I think that there's a case to be made that maybe there might be more information, more things that we know. And, look at what happened with the 2020 to 2022, that time frame. What happened during that time frame. Not that I'm demonetized, but I want to make sure that I don't get, any more shadow banned than I already am. So, that the thing that happened between 2020 and 2022, that thing, the one. If you'd have told me in 2019, in 2019, I believed that I think that we were ready as a species for disclosure. After all this and seeing a lot of things going on right now, especially a lot of these political pushes, I'm not sure anymore. It might force us to grow up a lot, but man, I don't know. Because then again, there's also the question that I think a lot of people have been kind of thinking about, like, if we do finally come forward with this information, we do finally disclose this to the public, that all this is real and we have been in contact with species outside of Earth or outside of our plane of existence. The question then becomes, what do we do about it? Or what do we do with this? And I think that's a far more complicated question I think a lot of us are really willing to talk about. You're literally talking about a shift, a complete pole shift in how we think and act as a species. Not just as a society, not just as people, not just as nations, not just as a, quote, world. We're talking about our entire existence as a species changes instantly. And that's what really kind of, I think, disturbs me particularly about this. Because we have to think about the possibility that these things, if they are who we kind of have speculated that they are, and I'm not going to draw any conclusions. I'm not going to try and sway you down any particular path on that end with like my own beliefs, but I am going to say that I don't think it's as cut and dry as we like to think. I don't think that these are just extraterrestrials. I don't think that what we're dealing with is some kind of alien race from, beyond the stars. I think this is probably more than one thing that we're dealing with. More than one phenomenon that's all combining into the same thing. We'll talk about that at some point or another. We'll kind of do a little bit more of a discussion. I know Winning Reality over there is really wanting me to come over on his channel and kind of do that discussion, which I'm more than happy to do. I've got to clear my schedule so that way we can do it. But I think, honestly, we need to have, as a society and as a people, as a species, we need to have a conversation about how do we face the possibility that we are not alone out there. Because we have lived our entire lives as a species believing that we were the center of the galaxy. We were the only game in town. Suddenly you throw that out the window, the entire human species suddenly realizes that we are not alone. And what if it's worse than that? What if it's worse? Because that's a question I don't think a lot of people are asking. What if it's worse? And what do I mean by that? What do I mean is, what if we are basically Stone Age compared to all of the things flying around us? What if they're not hundreds or even a few thousand years ahead of us? What if they're millions of years ahead of us? What if these are species that are millions of years more advanced? And what we're seeing is kind of the for lack of a better term here, their equivalent of kind of the prime directive in Star Trek. They're showing us like their absolute bargain basement technology off of essentially cosmic wish instead of showing us their like absolutely most incredible tech. Yeah, that's something to think about. And it definitely scares the bejesus out of me. All right, so bit of a tangent, I know, but it's something that's been on my mind lately, and I think that we need to kind of put in the back of our minds that what if there's a situation where maybe these species aren't necessarily hostile towards us, but maybe what if they regard us more like ants? We're insignificant compared to them. We're allowed to live on our planet because it's our planet for one thing or another, and they're just kind of, this is basically like a galactic rest stop on the way to somewhere else. What if? Yeah. TNR, antiquary guns. What if we're food and they like us dumb because we taste better that way? Well, there's a lot of speculation that we're the product of genetic engineering. I don't specifically ascribe to that, but I mean, there are some pretty compelling arguments to suggest that we might be the byproduct of it, or the product of an accelerated evolution. Again, I'm not saying that is or isn't. I'm not saying that I believe that. I'm just saying there are people out there who make a strong case for it. Then again, there are also some people that, believe in the whole Galactic Federation of Light bollocks that has been thoroughly debunked as a whole bunch of woo-woo conspiracy, and I don't truck with any of that. Anyway, so slight aside there to be kind of begin everything. But now let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's show. Let's go ahead and dive right in. I got one more comment that I just saw drop in. Actually, a couple more that just dropped in. So, Jude Curio says, we were just making our way off planet. We may have visitors to stop us. That is possible. And say, who's to say that we're the only game in town? I mean, we've only ever been on our planet. And really, I mean, that we know of. Hell, there's speculation that we've never even been to the moon. I mean, again, believe what you want on that one. There's compelling arguments on both sides. But until somebody goes up in a rocket, lands on the friggin' moon, and looks around and goes, hey, look, is that the moon landing site over there? Yep, it is. Click. What else am I supposed to believe? EW Gaming, for sure. I for sure agree with the genetic engineering hypothesis. We developed a lot of traits that enabled us to advance a lot in a short time. It is entirely possible. Again, I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying there's a possibility. And Jenny B, good to see you. Great for having you on the show. Tits and ray guns could be we're living the plot of a home world, and this is just a prison planet. Who knows? I guess we will eventually, but you know, there's so much that we don't know that we think we've got. There's so much we think that we've got on lock, that we know, that we have locked down. We don't have a friggin' clue. Case in point, let me actually go ahead and drag this up. I totally didn't think about this one, but I need to find this now. So this actually just dropped, actually yesterday, I believe. And let's see, Cosmos Magazine. I think that's the one. So essentially what's going on is that there was some information that just dropped. Actually, it says basically this morning. It was actually, I think, yesterday or the day before that it really came out. But let me go ahead and stop that screen, present. There we go. This information just came over that we're basically finding out now that the universe is twice as old as we thought. I'm trying to figure out the right picture thing. There we go. Close enough. So now they're saying that the universe is two times older than we thought it is. We thought the universe was about 13 billion years old. Now we're finding out it's about 26 billion years old. So we don't have a metric in our minds for calculating like even just a span of time like that. We are the fact of the matter is we are closer. What was we were closer to woolly, we are closer in time to woolly mammoths and stuff than we are the pyramids, because the pyramids predate a lot of that stuff. It's crazy. I got to remember exactly I don't remember, and I apologize, but essentially, think about this way. The dinosaurs were wiped out 65 million years ago. 65 million years. The dinosaurs died out. We're hearing that, and we understand that the periods of time that were, the dinosaurs. I mean, these last, the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods. These are millions, some of them even hundreds of millions of years long. We don't have a yardstick for that, because humanity As far as we know, according to contemporary science, and I know there's some debate on that now. Let me get, the academics believe that our society, human society in general, human civilization did not begin until about 6,000 years ago, according to the academia. Now we're finding sites like Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe and more that are predating that, going back even to, 12 and 14, 15,000 years ago. Okay, hypothetically say that is the case and whatnot. I mean, anatomically modern humans have existed in the geological and the fossil record for about 250 to 300,000 years. Again, I have to ask the question here. If this is the case, even if you take the absolutely, the longest shot, saying that, say, anatomically modern humans have existed for the last 300,000 years. This is not even a microsecond compared to the whole of time that the Earth has been around. The Earth is supposedly, by geological record, suggests that the Earth is about 4 billion years old. That being the case, they're saying that not only is the universe itself older than that, but it's twice as old as we thought. And there's so Jude Curio says, who's deciding these numbers? Let me actually go ahead and let's get into this a little bit here. Let me refresh that so I can get that off the screen. There we go. So current estimate placed the Big Bang 13.8 billion years ago. University of Ottawa adjunct professor Rajendra Gupta has calculated that it is in fact 26.7 billion years old, nearly twice as old as the currently accepted model. All right, so guessing the age of things is difficult in the best of times. Tree rings could tell you the age of trees that have grown in temperate climates. As a radioisotope analysis can give you a relatively accurate picture of how old certain fossils and rocks are on Earth, but determining the age of the universe is a completely different matter. How did cosmologists come to calculate the universe's age at 13.8 billion years old in the first place? Okay, here. Excuse me, started to get a little stuffy. Our best estimate for the age of the universe are based on observations of the cosmic microwave background radiation, CMB, and measurements of the universe's expansion through Hubble's law, says Dr. Michael Cowley from the Queensland University of Technology, with told Cosmos. CMB is a relic radiation from the Big Bang dating back to just 300,000 years after the universe was born. It permeates the universe and is the earliest observable radiation of the cosmos. Cowley explains that a complicated process of analyzing temperature fluctuations in the CMB allows cosmologists to determine the age of the universe. Hubble's law, Cowley explains, was established by astronomer Edwin Hubble in the 1920s. It relates the distance and velocities of galaxies and helps determine the rate of the universe's expansion, called the Hubble constant. By extrapolating this expansion backward, we can estimate the time of the Big Bang, Cowley says. So, that is kind of the layman's way of explaining exactly what you're asking there, Jude. So, even I wasn't entirely sure on that. I had kind of questions myself. I'd only just seen this article. But I did want to go ahead and dive into that. So, yes, thank you. That is a good question. Glad you asked it. Excuse me. I talk a lot and I get a little stuffy. Jenny B, I love listening to Graham Hancock and Brian Forrester. They question the mainstream narrative. Yes, I love Graham Hancock. I love Randall Carlson. I have not listened to a lot of Brian Forrester, but I'm going to keep that in mind, so I'm going to definitely do my due diligence on that. I definitely one day went down a Joe Rogan rabbit hole, and I've never come up since. Kind of digging into these guys' past work and seeing what they've been doing. So that's kind of the question that has kind of been is like preoccupying my mind lately, is just the question of, okay, we have this yardstick, I guess you could say. So again, we have evidence now that the universe is much, much older than we thought. Far older than we ever thought possible. And we cannot mentally computate that, like, from a perspective, I guess you could say a human perspective. That leaves a very startlingly scary possibility that it is entirely possible that not only could other life develop out there and develop before the Earth was even formed, because according to the geological record and everything that scientists speculate, I use that term very specifically, speculate, that the Earth is about 4 billion years old. I think it's about 4.8 billion, I guess. Let's see. If you take 23 billion years, because they're saying 23.8 billion years, and you subtract 4.8, then that means that Earth has only been in existence really, let's think about that there. I mean, that's almost I'm terrible at math, but in 1/6 of the time that the entire universe has been around. That's a lot of time for other civilizations to rise, fall, have their various declines or wars or whatever, and then whatever to happen. Again, I'm not saying this is exactly what's happening out there. I'm not saying that that there are other games in town. I'm just saying, if you're kind of looking at the numbers and the sheer statistics, the chances of those things being possible increase exponentially over time, given, time. And of course, there's always the whole metaphysical thing that we're experiencing right now, where we're kind of going through a little bit of we're going through a time where we're starting to kind of understand that there are multiple dimensions. Time is not linear, it's cyclical, and it's not just happening at, one time and then going on. It's all of time is happening all at once right now. So, yeah, listening to some of those mathematicians and, whatnot with quantum physics, like Michio Kaku, it'll break your brain trying to understand it, especially for a D student in math like me. But I'll be honest, it's fascinating. So, yeah, it's see. Oh, hey, AP, good to see you. Awful lot of space out there for the only beings in existence, and I firmly believe that we are not the only ones out there. That's just my gut feeling. So take that with a 40-pound bag of salt. Don't really. But yeah, it's if I'm speculating, I'm saying, yeah, I believe there's stuff out there, probably stuff that we've never encountered. And the thing is, I think we're fools to think that if it just came from somewhere else out in space. What about coming from space or time, or space and time, alternate dimensions, all that kind of stuff? Again, brain-breaking stuff. Okay, I have gotten way off in the weeds here, and let's actually start getting into, 40 minutes later, let's get into the topic at hand. Let's talk about this case coming out of the Mojave Desert. This is the case of, as they're calling it, the Mojave Triangle. So, new footage emerges from suspected UFO sighting over California military base. This actually was on the New York Post. Let's see. Yeah, buried under polar ice. Who knows? And according to Bob, if you listen to Bob Lazar, he believes that more than one of the craft that he says the U.S. is in possession of came from an archaeological dig. Supposedly, there's some craft built is hidden underneath the Sphinx in Egypt. Call it what you do. Jenny B, I just don't know how logically we would be. I know this can be a religious debate. Oh, yeah. That's one of those that even somebody like me, who comes from a very conservative Christian background and still has, still maintained my faith. I'll be honest. I have questions, but again, having questions is, I guess you could say, the cornerstone of having faith. Can I reconcile all those things? Nope. Do I still believe it's true? Yep. There's a lot of unanswered questions and things out there, and, well, hey, look at it this way. What do you have to lose? You go to church a couple Sundays, you try and be a decent person, you try not to be a complete dick piston to everyone. On the off chance that, you're actually doing things right and you actually believe it, best not to get caught outside the gates. Just saying. Anyway, so this was courtesy of the New York Post. 2 UFO experts are reviewing new footage that they claim is what they claim is a mass UFO sighting over a military base. Weaponized podcast host Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp examined photos and videos Tuesday on the broadcast, which they say were taken back in April 2021 over 29 Palms, California. 2 years ago, this thing happened and nothing has come out, Knapp explained. There's been no media coverage in 2 years since. I got a tip from 2 bases at the time, Corbell recalled, about the quick call he got from a person who was high up. But the tip was basically something like, something happened and you should look into it. Click. He said, claiming that the source hung up without further explanation. In one clip, the pair pointed out a triangular formation of lights hovering above the Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center in Camp Wilson. Sorry about that. The site is reminiscent of the Phoenix Lights event spotted over Arizona in March 1997. Yeah, so this is actually a... Let me see if I can get that whole image. There we go. So yeah, that's about as close as I'm going to be able to get with that. So that's the image of the craft. Hard to see under basically just where the edge of the red circle is. There's actually a kind of a darker line. There are mountains back there. So this thing is over a mountain range, and then this is actually a little house or whatnot on the military base there. All right. Sorry, the mass sighting, which apparently happened more than 2 years ago, was discussed Tuesday on Weaponized Podcast. So, photos of the event were allegedly taken with iPhones and infrared cameras. Oh, sorry, I lost my place. Yep. Footage captures a triangular formation of lights. There's a little bit of a zoomed out version of it. The site allegedly took place over 29 Palms, California. And Jude actually, our resident expert on this area, because Jude actually lived in this area for a long time. So you have to understand the air there is crystal clear. There isn't even a smell 3,000 feet up. So yeah, that's I mean, we'll see more in the pictures, but yeah, it's wild. Though the spotting has never been addressed up until now, Corbell claimed that the more than 10-minute-long event was seen by over 50 people, including Marines on the base. Now, I've heard estimates of 10 minutes. I've heard estimates all the way up to 25 minutes. He hopes that the pair is talking about what they allege is the UFO. More eyewitnesses will come forward to speak on it. The object was apparently between the size of half a football field or a 3-bedroom, 2-story house, or even bigger, Corbell alleged. The Post contacted Corbell and Knapp, as well as the Marine base, for comment. So, meanwhile, Stanford professor and ufologist Dr. Gary Nolan boldly claimed last week that he believes 100% that extraterrestrials have not only visited Earth, but have been here a long time, and may still even be on the planet today. Last month, a native New Yorker released his second book that compiles powerful first-hand accounts of UFO encounters across the globe. So, that's the story from the New York Post, and we're going to go overhead. So, this was actually also picked up by Fox News. So, UFO spotted lurking above U.S.'s largest Marine base. We got aliens. Yep. Department of Defense told Fox News Digital that the object flying over 29 Palms, California in 2021 was a weapons and tactics instructor course. Ah, yes, the typical cover-up. All right. So for more context and information, we're actually going to go over to the Jeremy Corbell's page over here, Weaponized, for the Weaponized podcast. Kind of go through what is on there about this. Real quick, Jude also says, I've run across some papers on USGS that talked about the geomagnetic anomaly on base and stream, which is understand. Yes, that is something that I did remember was on the podcast that they mentioned, that there is actually some kind of an underground river system there, and there is some kind of strange geomagnetic anomalies at the site. Strangely enough, there seem to be a lot of cases where there are geomagnetic anomalies where a lot of these craft, apparently these phenomenon, show up. So the the Mojave Triangle UAP. So this happened on April 20th of 2021. I'm going to zoom in here so y'all can read along with me. All right. April 20th, 2021, between 8:20 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On the location, Marine Air Corps Air Ground Combat Center, 29 Palms, Camp Wilson. It says duration approximately 10 minutes. Okay. Mass UFO sighting, over 50 direct eyewitnesses, known imaging platforms, iPhones, and infrared. Consensus of eyewitness reports, shape triangle by angle of observation. Craft was silent. Size estimations are between half the size of a football field and a 3-bedroom, 2-story house. So, at timeline, 8:20 p.m. craft appears. 8:24, first known iPhone recordings begin. At 8:29 p.m., illumination rounds were discharged above the UAP craft. This was recorded. 8:30 p.m., the UAP was reported to blink out or disappear just before the illumination rounds approached useful proximity to the unidentified craft. Response: there was a significant air and ground response for approximately 3 hours after the mass sighting, presumed by witnesses to be a search and reconnaissance effort. So yes, there were actually ground and air vehicles scrambled from this base to go check this out. And yeah, we are going to go ahead and watch through these videos, kind of go through these, see what we're looking at here. So I will go ahead and I'm going to shift down here. Get to full screen. All right. They kind of have a synchronous twinkle to them almost. Hey, Tweety, great to see you. Oh, we have Murph's Turf. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in here yet, so thanks for jumping in. Tweety says, what's the reason for changing UFOs into UAP? Well, ask the government on that one, because they like to change the terminology every few years, and I think a lot of that just is category reasons. They like to categorize and recategorize stuff so they can kind of look at it from a time frame perspective. I don't know. That's my speculation. But yeah, I'm an old fan of UFO, unidentified flying object. Seems pretty straightforward. Because they originally redesignated it to unidentified aerial phenomenon. Now it's unidentified anomalous phenomenon, which sounds really dumb to me. All right, so that was the first video. Not a whole lot to that one. Here's the second video.
Those are not illumin rounds, because illumin rounds fall.
He's saying those are not illumination rounds.
And nobody shoots in a 5-gun section.
No, you can see like an outline or something.
It's moving. What you got?
Yep. And I know the audio is a little quiet on those. Can you guys hear them talking in the chat? Oh, Murph's Turf. First time I subscribed recently, and this is UFO Alien. Yes. Well, glad I can please you. I do this every Wednesday, or usually I kind of do this every 2 weeks on a Wednesday. Because of the just sheer dearth of information that's been coming out recently on this topic and other paranormal and supernatural topics, I'm going to be talking about this. I'm going to be doing a regular Wednesday show of this now. So, Jude, can we call them UFO here? Yes, I still stick to the UFO thing. Can we say UFO here? Is that racist? No, it's totally fine. In fact, I call it UFO more often than not. It's just because I'm so into the topic and read so much, my brain kind of switches between UFO and UAP, although I prefer UAP. Or I prefer UFO. See, my brain did it again. I just did the old switcheroo. So yeah. This show, by the way, is going to be more of a weekly deal now with various stuff, and not just UFOs. We're also going to talk various other paranormal and strange things going on, and kind of just delve into it from a more grounded perspective and kind of ask questions. I'm not here to convince you of one thing or the other. I'm here to just kind of say, hey, here's something weird. Let's kind of dig into it, see what's going on. All right, so here we go. Let's play this.
Yo, I'm about to be one of those crazy old motherfuckers. What is this shit?
And I apologize, guys. I am at max volume here. And it just
it's
whoop.
not showing up in my camera.
Yeah, you heard like right there at the beginning, you heard kind of some popping noises. I think that was when they were shooting off the illumination rounds to try and light it up. And then suddenly it just kind of just fades out. Try that again. See, you hear the booms? And then it just kind of goes whoop,
What is this shit?
and just slowly fades out. Oh, it's still there. Okay, sorry. There it fades out.
Now
Just
it's
zoop.
not showing up in my camera.
And it even says it's not showing up on my camera now. Here's this other video.
I told you all this research wasn't for nothing. I knew aliens were real.
There's more lights around it.
Okay, I'm gonna try and boost the audio because yeah, even I'm having a hard time hearing this. Capture current default preset. Turn that way up. Okay, that's a lot better.
I told you all this research wasn't for nothing. I knew aliens were real.
Okay, it is at maximum
There's more
boost.
lights around it.
All right, AP says UFO to UAP is just a boondoggle to waste $6 million just for the panel to say we need more money to find out more. All BS. I agree. They just do it willy nilly. Merster, you say I hope this. He's like I hope to. He's like yeah, me too. I hope disclosure while I'm still alive. Well, I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later, especially with the. There is actually a big meeting that is supposed to go down next week on the 26th. A lot of people. It's going to be a actual huge, basically a not really a press conference, but it's going to be a huge, congressional briefing, I guess you could say. Congressional. Tweety, help me out here. What's the word I'm looking for when there's like a big panel of people that speak to Congress? I think you usually know these kind of things. I apologize. All right. Anyway. Yes, congressional hearing. Thank you, Murph. Thank you. Yep, congressional panel. That is, yeah. So yeah, there's going to be meetings. Let's put it that way. And yeah, apparently there's a lot of people that are going to be involved. I don't have it confirmed yet. Let me be completely clear. Let me be completely clear about this right now. I am just saying I have heard rumors, unconfirmed rumors, so take that with a grain of salt. I have heard unconfirmed rumors that Bob Lazar may be testifying at these congressional panels and actually testifying before Congress about his experiences and the UAP phenomenon. What he worked on supposedly at Area S4. Again, that is hugely unconfirmed. It is nothing more than rumor right now, but I've been hearing it. All right. Say da-da-da-da-da-da. All right. So, going back over to our presentation. So I do want to, there's one video I want to go back to. I think it's this second one here. Because I think what he says here is very important.
Those are not aluminum rounds because aluminum rounds fall.
Yep. He's saying those are not, those lights in the sky, those are not loom rounds because loom rounds fall.
And nobody shoots in a 5-gun section.
Okay, that is also very important because there are 5 lights in the sky. He's saying nobody shoots in a 5-gun section. So there's no way that anybody in the military, at least as far as these guys are ever concerned, would shoot 5 illumination rounds up like that. And they're illumination rounds, they shoot them up, they ignite, and they fall slowly down. These stayed stationary. They didn't fall. And that's even crazier is that later they shot illumination rounds at this thing and then it blinked out. So you could see at one point the illumination rounds trying to fall and this thing is just sitting there.
No, you can see like an outline or something.
They're saying, yeah, you can see the outline of it.
It's moving.
It's moving.
What do you got?
Oh, hell no. Yo, we got aliens out here, dog. Yo, this is fucking weird.
We got UFOs outside.
Yeah, they're all pretty creeped out.
Everyone's out here.
All right. Actually, we watched that one already. Video 5. This is where they actually have the illumination rounds.
Please tell me this is the end of the world.
So the camera's trying to focus on these illumination rounds that were fired. Yeah, you can see the illumination rounds and that. Yeah. Tweety says, Bob Lazar is always interesting. I love listening to Bob. Bob could read me my taxes, and I would find it incredibly interesting just because I like the way he talks. But more so, I like the fact that he's credible. The man has not changed his story in over 30 years, and he's told this story to his own detriment. He's never made a dime off of his own story. He doesn't like to talk about it. Just saying. Let's see. Yep, we've seen Lazar's interview on Joe Rogan. That is a great interview. I love watching that. Yeah, EW Gaming. I believe Bob Lazar. Yeah. I believe Bob Lazar. And actually, funny enough, if you look over my shoulder that away, you'll see a model kit. And yeah, I can't wait to build it because it is an actual replica model kit of the craft Lazar supposedly worked on. You know what? Hang on. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get it. I love showing this off. So hang tight. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I just had to. Also, I've been waiting for a chance to play that. I've had that clip, that I created like almost a couple of months ago, and I haven't had a chance to use it. All right, so yeah, Jenny B, he seems credible. None of the guys ever changed their stories, correct? He was the guy abducted, right? No, that was Travis Walton. Travis Walton, the Snowflake, Arizona abduction, 1975. He's another one that I believe because his story is just freaky. It's kind of sad that when they did the movie about him, Fire in the Sky, that they embellished the way that they did. I think it would have been far better if they actually made it true to his story, but I know that it's not as exciting as the movie tried to make it sound. But yeah, that what you're thinking, Fire in the Sky, 1993. Excuse me. That was the Travis Walton abduction. Bob Lazar came forward in the 1980s because he believed that he was going to be killed, and he supposedly was a propulsions expert and physicist that had formerly worked at Los Alamos, had gone to MIT, and he got brought on to the work over at EG&G Special Projects and was taken to Area S4, which is about 15 miles, actually, I think, south or west of Area 51. It's actually in a separate compound. It's actually built into the side of a mountain, and that's where he supposedly worked on this craft for a few years before, they stopped calling him into work. He thought that he was going to be, and so he came forward to the news. Turns out that the reason why that they had stopped calling him in was because his wife was having an affair, and part of the stipulation for his work contract was that he had to have a stable home life. Oops. So he didn't know about it, and yeah. Okay, gotcha. So anyway, sorry about that slight interlude, but yeah, so this is the model kit in question. I cannot wait to finally build this thing. Yeah. It is exactly a model of the craft Lazar supposedly worked on. Even really cool that it's actually in clear plastic. So it's actually got the interior designs as well. It's got 3 gravity generators that he supposedly says how it worked. He's got the command station. Interior and exterior, this is the craft as Bob explained how it looked. And yeah, that is really awesome. I found out just because very close friend of mine who actually, I believe next week on Edge of Reality, I'm going to be doing a special episode with a good friend of mine, friend of the channel that you guys have seen before. Grand Admiral Harlock is coming back, and we're going to be doing another maritime mystery for the next episode of Edge of Reality on the 26th at 8:30 p.m. That's next week. And we're going to be covering a lesser-known shipwreck, often referred to as the Titanic of the southern route. Kind of, I guess you could call it the Australian Titanic. Cool story. I can't wait to get into it. It's really wild. Anyway, he works for the company that I bought that model kit from, and I can't wait because I'm going to try and get a second one so I can do one with the full like silver exterior and then do one with kind of like just clear on the outside so that way you can see inside. I really want to do it. It sounds really fun. Then again, I'm a giant nerd, so anywho. Jumping back over here. There we go. Okay. So we've seen the illumination rounds. Now we're going to actually get into the witness testimony, and we're going to listen to this. So this is an interview with U.S. Marines 2 days after the event. And I will check the audio here in just a second. There we go.
So I'm a mortarman, and he's artillery.
What are the facts, man? Like, what base? Which Marine base? And what time was this?
2 nights ago, it was roughly like 8:25-ish at night. It was near 29 Palms, California. So I don't know if you're familiar with the base at all, but Camp Wilson is attached to 29 Palms. It's like a one-way road in and out of the camp. One of my buddies was outside. He was looking in the sky, and then it just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And we all came out and looked, and then slowly, like 50-plus people started coming out and looking. Those lights appeared out of nowhere.
Obviously, a lot of people saw this. What did people think?
They were just kind of like baffled. Nobody could recognize it. I mean, we're all in the military, so you'd think we'd.
This happened in a number of places. I've got reports from other people. They're coming in. The video you sent me, was that yours?
Yes, that was mine. That was from my iPhone.
And the photo, was that a still photo or pulled from the video?
It was a still photo. If you look in the picture, you can see like a black triangular shape.
Why are these not flares?
Because they stayed there for a solid 10 minutes, just in the same spot.
And flares don't sit in one spot for 10 minutes?
No, they fall.
So you personally know that these were not flares. Do you believe this was a craft?
Yeah, I would have to believe so. With the picture I took with the black triangular shape underneath the lights, it's definitely not any type of like flare or illumination rounds or anything. I didn't mean to butt in, but I work with artillery, and we shoot illumination rounds out of our arty guns into the air to illume infantry guys. And this was nothing compared to what that is. Like, this was something none of us had ever seen before. It was a completely different color. The size of the illumination was different. And when we shoot illumination rounds, it's one, you shoot it in the air and let it drop, and then you shoot another one. This was like, obviously you've seen the picture, this was like 5 right next to each other, and they're kind of reddish, and our loom rounds are like a yellow-white color.
So this was a craft. Was it hovering, stationary? Was there any sound?
There was absolutely no sound. No sound, but it was definitely stationary.
How big was it? Estimate to me, how big?
Compared to one of those stealth bombers, the size.
Well, hold on. Stealth bombers can't hover.
Exactly, that's why I can compare it to that, but that's how I know it wasn't that. I would say the size of like 3-bedroom house. I don't know. Maybe bigger.
You said that there were like objects that came out and like circled it right after, and then it went dark? What do you mean?
So right before they went out, the loom rounds popped off over top of it. Those 2 orange lights, the actual loom rounds that went up over top of it, and then after that it disappeared, like just straight went black, and then helicopters started like hauling ass towards it, and they went like in the direction of it, and then they started circling the area. These helicopters were circling for a good bit afterwards, and there was a convoy as well that went out. It was like a 60-plus truck convoy that we saw go out as well. We were taking pictures afterwards. It was just straight black, just disappeared.
What do you think you saw?
I couldn't tell you. I just know it's not anything that I recognized or any of my close friends could recognize either. So I don't think it was anything U.S. military. Definitely some type of UFO, and government was trying to look for it after it disappeared. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell that was.
This is a highly documented event. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah. Like through exercises, we've worked with a lot of people who use different type of weapons. So I've never seen anything like it.
All right, there you have it, folks. Real quick, I just realized like an idiot that I did not pop out my Rumble chat and layer it so that way I could see my Rumble chat and my YouTube chat at the same time. Spirit Star 005 and Flu Anon. Good to see you guys. Say great to have you as part of the viewing audience over there. Say, why can't I think the heliocentric model is wrong? To one of our earlier conversations. And Fluinon says, doesn't look a day over 25 billion. Talking about when we were talking about the age of the universe. Nice. All right. I'm going to remind myself to always pop the the Rumble chat out. Oh, goodness. I have my moments. Anyway, so yeah, that is the interview with the Marines just after the event. So we have people who know what they're talking about, where it's considered in this field. They know this is not illumination rounds. They know this is not some other type of normal, I guess you could call it, phenomenon. These, and they were very specific about what they saw, what they claimed that they saw. So here, let's do this. Okay, see if this works. Thank you, Jude. Yes, folks, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe on the video. I do a lot of hard work so that way I can bring this stuff to you guys. Yep. Murph says, and they sent out choppers and a convoy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our military took this credibly enough to actually send helicopters and a convoy out to go chase this thing after shooting illuminating artillery rounds at it to try and show it. You have all these Marines that were there on the ground that said that despite how dark it was, they could still see that there was a shape underneath the lights that maybe the cameras didn't pick up. So this was definitely some kind of solid craft. This was not 5 individual lights. Oops, hit wrong button. All right, so I'm going to throw some pictures up over here, and I'm going to try and embiggen it as best I can. So, okay. So here's a picture. I know it's kind of scrunched, and you can see the lights right over the top of this house over here. It's some kind of an outbuilding, but this is on the base at 29 Palms. And hopefully the next picture is the correct one. No. Okay. So that is roughly the same area. So there it is. That is exactly the same area that this craft was seen literally hours later under daylight. So go back here. You can see the building. You can see the building there. Oops. Okay. And kind of look at this second little stack, whatnot, and just go up straight off the top, and that would get you to the corner of that. And then you see that, so go off the stack. So this object was roughly in this area of the sky right here. And yeah, as Jude mentioned earlier, this is very clear sky, very clear air. You could see for miles. So something was was just over this little hill or this mountain rise, and it just hovered there. That's a little freaky, if you ask me. Stayed there for over 10 minutes. Whenever they noticed that we noticed that they were there, suddenly they just turned off their lights, and they were gone. Not gonna lie, that's pretty freaky. Some other photos of the incident there. This is also another picture from the same general area. Now, I gotta find there. I think that's the picture. Okay. So this is the photo of the craft. Let me go over to share this tab. There we go. So this is the picture of the craft after they've done some illumination to it. So that way you could see it with the mountain range and everything. And you can very clearly start to see underneath the, if I can find it. There we go. It's a little hard to see in this, but you can actually start to kind of see a darker shape, triangular shape underneath these lights. So we're dealing with a solid object that was captured there. Yep, a Bigfoot UFO. You can see something is there, but the camera's just the correct amount of out of focus. Yeah. I think based on a lot of what I've heard from Lazar's testimony of how these things work and the gravitational field they create around them, they bend light. The gravity field around them bends light, which makes them difficult to kind of see a lot of times. In certain way, at certain angles and whatnot, they have like a bit of a distortion around them. There's actually a very interesting science. I actually have read this. It was whenever I was doing some work looking at the testimonies with James Fox, who is the filmmaker behind, the Phenomenon and Moment of Contact. Great documentaries. I highly recommend you guys check them out. You can pick them up on Vudu, I believe, and I think they're also available on Amazon. But yeah, highly recommend watching, especially the Phenomenon. It gives you a background history of the UFO phenomenon. One thing that they note in there that's very fascinating is that there is a lot of times, like there's actually a science behind this, and that a lot of these photographers, when they and whatnot, they're these photo experts, when they take and look at pictures of UFOs, they can usually spot if one is a genuine or a fake by kind of looking at this almost distortion field around the craft. It's kind of weird, but it's wild. There's an observatory next to 29 Palms. Look up the date and compare data. I have to check that one out. I didn't know there's an observatory there. So AP makes sense. The predator cloaking tech would explain the inability to catch them clearly on camera. I mean, hey, if they can create if it could create an electromagnetic field strong enough, or a this is going down a bit of a rabbit hole, but if you can create an electromagnetic field strong enough, you can create a gravitational force possibly that is strong enough to bend light. Now, supposedly what Lazar says that he worked on, allegedly, says that this device that he worked on was able to create gravitational waves and create gravity without anything else. Oh, good night, Rebecca. Say, good to have you. Say, have a great night. Take care. And yeah, that's the fascinating part, because if this thing can just create gravity willy-nilly without having to use like an additional method to achieve that, that's way ahead of anything that we have, because we don't have anything that can just make gravity, because we only really get gravity with large amounts of mass. All right, and so yeah, Murph Surf says James Fox, yeah, mind-blowing documentary on Brazil incident. Yes, 100%. Moment of Contact is wild. For anybody who's never seen any of the documentaries about this topic, I still highly recommend going to watch The Phenomenon first. It's far more compelling and interesting because he actually gets a lot of folks that have firsthand knowledge and encounters with this stuff. So, all right. So that is the 29 Palms incident in a nutshell. And that is kind of where things stand as of right now. So, I guess the question is, where does this leave us? Because, I mean, I know we have... Ultimately, this really doesn't move us any closer, but it doesn't lead us any closer to understanding these things. Only hands-on working with the technology is going to really be able to achieve that. But I think any opportunity that we have to see credible testimony, credible evidence, credible eyewitnesses that have seen this stuff and actually be able to analyze this, I mean, it does move us forward in saying, okay, there's obviously something there. We need to look into it. I think that's a positive in the long run. So, Spirit Star over on Rumble, Spirit Star 005 says, if they use reflective material on their craft and it has some small gravity wells, that's going to mess with the visible light out there. That is very true. And Murphturf says, Kaiser, Sean Ryan just released 2 of 3 vids interviewing vets about their UFO experiences. One of them is talking about Antarctica binging this weekend. Oh, really? I have heard a lot of weird stories about Antarctica, and trust me, there is a plethora of very odd and weird stories regarding strange things supposedly found in Antarctica. And yeah, it's a weird one. Antarctica is just a weird continent. And we have the whole Antarctic Trust. So nobody's allowed to stay there. Nobody's allowed to keep like permanent things there. They're not able to, I mean, it's such a harsh environment. They can't really explore much as far as we know. And then yet, apparently we sent a massive, naval fleet down there in like the late 1940s, early 1950s. And a lot of them came back severely damaged and nobody was willing to talk about it. That was known as Operation High Jump. I'm not saying what happened on Operation High Jump. There's official narratives. There are unofficial narratives. There are stories. The one admiral actually had a diary that I guess wasn't confiscated after they all came back. The rest of his diaries and logs were confiscated. That one details some just stuff that is just plain effing weird. I don't really know. I mean, it sounds kind of woo-woo. So, I mean, I really don't give a lot of credence to it. But, I mean, I have to... Until it's proven that it's not real, I have to at least say that there's a possibility. Didn't put it together, but that's it for later. Yep. And yeah, super weird. All right. So, with all that being the case, I think this is where we're going to go ahead and leave it tonight. I think we're going to go ahead and sign off here. Thank you all so much for watching. And for those of you that are catching it live, I really greatly appreciate you guys. I love interacting with the chat. For anybody else out there who's catching this on the replay crew, I love you guys too. Love all you folks out there. Please definitely do me a favor. Hit that like button. If you're new here, this is your first time catching my stuff, hit that subscribe button. Because whether on YouTube or Rumble, subscribe to be notified whenever I get new stuff. Hit that notification bell so that way you know when I get new stuff. Really quick, we're going to go ahead and talk about next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, same time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be covering a little bit of a different topic because I don't just do UFOs on this channel. We're going to be covering a maritime mystery of some pretty interesting proportions. I'm going to say this is a ship that you've probably never heard of, but it is a wild and interestingly strange story that is still a mystery. It's still unsolved to this day. So we know a lot of things about the Titanic. This ship, on the other hand, we don't. And there's a lot of strange things that kind of went on with it. So I will have a very special guest coming on with me for next week. That is going to be my good buddy, Grand Admiral Harlock. And yeah, he'll be returning since he would help me out and did the Titanic stream with me. It seems fair that we cover the Titanic of the Southern Route, and we're going to be talking about that one. So again, next week, Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. That is going to be the 26th for everybody out there. That's a bit of a special day in the history of this particular incident. So come back and check that out, because you might learn something that you didn't know. And I know for a fact that Jeff over on Legal Vices hasn't talked about this one yet on Maritime Mondays. All right. And one last thing over on Rumble with Spirit Star 005 with Antarctica now, with the alien stuff with Egypt. Stargate SG-1 story is starting to be a lot more interesting. I can wish. Yep. I agree wholeheartedly. And EW Gaming, great channel. I found it searching for that clip of Kathleen Kennedy getting snubbed, but this is even better. Cheers, everyone. EW Gaming, glad I can assist you there. And so not only are we going to do this every Wednesday, now tomorrow, Thursday, we're going to start doing a weekly show on Thursdays as well. We are going to be doing Real Talk. So we're going to be doing a longer live stream version of my daily, show where we talk about movies and stuff. Tomorrow, I have got a confirmation on Captain Have Fun is going to be joining me on that one, and a tentative vote of confidence from Chandler Remington. So hopefully we'll have both of them on the panel tomorrow, and we're going to be talking some movies, talking some chat, talking about Indy 5, the failures, the pitfalls. We're going to be talking all kinds of crazy stuff with the new Barbie movie, which has apparently decided to go with politics over actual story. And I really, really want to pick Chandler's brain about this one, because I think this is definitely something that's right up her alley. And we're going to be talking about the potential progresses and pitfalls of the the Disney yard sale, as Bob Iger is pretty well content at this point to just say everything must go. All right, folks, thank you all so much for watching. Again, please definitely like this video, share it out to your friends, tell folks about them, send them over to me, and so definitely subscribe. Have your friends subscribe. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I want to do that before November 5th, because November 5th is going to be my channel's 1-year anniversary on YouTube. I would love to hit 1,000 and get to that monetization point within 1 year of starting this game. So we got a few more months. Definitely do your part. I know you guys will. We are definitely trucking on up there. But anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all on the next video. Peace. You ever wonder why we're here? You ever notice that the information that we're being fed doesn't always add up to the truth? Do you ever look out your window at night when the rain's falling down? You ever look down the street and wonder what is going on around you? You ever look out at night and ask yourself, is this all that I am? Where am I? What am I? Is this all there is? Is this real life? As technology continues to bring us closer together, it also tears us further apart. We watch the skies and look at the planet around us and its natural beauty as it continues to march forward on and on and on, unending, unceasing, unwavering. And yet our world, everything that we've built, crumbles around us. We wonder, is this it? Is there more? There's got to be. We search. We want to learn. We want to understand. We want to see all that we can see, know all that we can know. We want to look out there. We want to peek behind the veil. We want to ask the questions that nobody will answer. We want to light those fires, the sparks that ignite a curiosity in us. And we ask ourselves, what is out beyond all of that? Beyond the edge of reality?